Yo, welcome back. Welcome back to the topic. Um, Second episode. And we have quite a few things to talk about. Um, so the first thing I want to start with: Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, all that good stuff. Hope everybody had a great New Year's. Um, but yeah, the first thing I want to start with is Draymond Green's return. Um, Honestly, I think it's a non-story, to be honest with you, because the Warriors just aren't good anymore, right? Like that's not a good football team. So I think it's a much bigger story than what it actually is. Yes, we're glad he's back, but so what? Are the Warriors making a playoff push? Or are they now contenders to win the NBA Finals now? Who cares? Um, it really means nothing at the end of the day. Hopefully, though, it does help him calm down and maybe stop the on-court antics, because I think everybody's had enough of that. Um, and outside of Draymond Green, I think the Warriors are in a terrible place with, Kuminga coming out saying he doesn't trust Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr's, I don't watch a lot of the Warriors games, but I have seen people say that his rotations haven't been good. We've seen Clay regress tremendously on both ends of the floor. He can't guard anybody, and he's not as great shooter as he once was. Can give you 30 at any moment. But like I said, Draymond Green returning. Okay, I mean, what are they in 10th place or something like that? I don't see them moving up or anything like that. Like they're just back to the regular Warriors. Not even that, but it's the same team pretty much. But I don't see him making that huge of an impact on that team to where people start taking them serious. Let's stick with the NBA. Huge win for the Thunder over the Celtics. The Thunder seem to be pretty serious. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, man, he's phenomenal right now. I think he's one of the best at that position right now. And I want to go out on a limb and even say he's better than Jason Tatum right now. I know that might be a little bit of a hot take, but why though? Somebody tell me why that's a hot take. He's scoring more. He's passing better. He defends just as well. I think he leads the league in steals as well. He's a good defender. He's a high percentage shot maker and shot taker. His team's number 2. He's doing this without another all-star or star even next to him. He has a team of 2 seed in the West. So we can't really deny it. I don't think saying he's better than Tatum is a stretch at all. He's first team All NBA last year. He'd probably be first team All NBA this year. He's averaging 30, shooting over 50%, leading the league in steals. He's a top 8 guy, maybe 5. You know what I mean? There's not a lot. The list of people that are better than him, the list is short. But he's been phenomenal this year, and I think Tatum has been decent as well. I don't think he's as good as he was last year. But obviously they have a better team, so it takes a little bit of a sacrifice. But I think he's still very good. I think he's top 9 or 10 player in the league as well. But right now I would probably take Shea Gilgeous-Alexander over him. But they both got their teams first and second in their conferences. Also, the Celtics versus the Pacers. What a terrible call that was to end the game on both sides. JB clearly got hit in the head. They reviewed it and then, stuck with the call. I don't know how that's possible. If you get hit in the head under any circumstances, that typically, for most part, has always pretty much been a foul. For some strange reason now, it's not a foul when the game is on the line or whatever. Yeah, that was just a strange game. Ruined A great night by Jalen himself. 40 points game on the line, chance to knock down 2 free throws, whatever. And then on the other end, they called the foul on Porzingis. Those are two. It's like a 4 point differential right there, pretty much. So that should have been the game Celtics won. On a serious note, though, Tyrese Halliburton with the injury, that's huge. Saying it's a strained hamstring. It's one of those injuries that linger, though. So, yeah, he may be out 2 weeks, but, like, it'll be a minute before he's 100% and, like, can fully trust himself to run full speed and things like that. But if he is hurt, that's probably great news for Mr. Derek White with a guard down. We never want people to go down, but obviously those type of things happen. And it's a very real chance Derek White, makes the All-Star team this year, which would be crazy for the Celtics. Yeah, it's possible. And if it happens, good for him. He's played great this year with the chances that he's taken. So I think he's very good, and if he has an All-Star, that's great for him. I'm happy for him. And so I've had a lot of debates this week with my friends. One of them was Tyrese Halliburton versus Trae Young. Me personally, I think Tyrese Halliburton is a bit ahead of Trae Young right now. He's leading the league in assists. He turns it over less. He makes and takes good shots. And I'm not mad at anybody that's taking Trae Young, because I think Trae Young is a bigger threat scoring than Tyrese Halliburton is, which makes him maybe a little bit more dangerous. But I still think Tyrese Halliburton is playing better right now and is probably the better point guard at the moment. And then the other argument I had was Anthony Edwards. Is he top 10? I said he wasn't initially. I may have to take that back. He might be top 10, because we know Luka, Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, Tatum, Shea. KD's still in there. Some people may have Steph in there. We could put Steph. Anthony Davis has been a top 10 player this year, in my eyes. Strictly my opinion. Who else could we put in there? D-Book. Don't know. Kawhi, Paul George, are they better than Anthony Edwards right now? I don't know. I can't say for certain that they are. Because Anthony Edwards is a great defender, and he's a great scorer as well. I'm trying to think who else. De'Aaron Fox, maybe. Is he better than Anthony Edwards? I don't know. That's a good question. Shea. He's close. He's I don't know. If he's not 10, he's 12. 12 at the lowest is what he is. I think he has a real chance to make a great playoff push this year and become top 10. If he makes a deep playoff run, I'm talking Western Conference Finals. That's a very good opportunity to be a top 10 player. But I'm not mad at anybody that says he's top 10. It's so hard. After that initial 6 to 8, it really can't go either way. And I'm just talking about right now. Steph has been great, for the past 13 years. KD's been great for the last 15, 17 years. LeBron's been great for the last 20, 21 years. Right now, though, Are those players better than Anthony Edwards right now? It's hard to say. It really is hard to say. I don't know. We'll see. Staying there though. We just got back the first All-Star results. And it's interesting to see who might make it, who might not. But somehow Devin Booker is not in the top 10. Voting wise, I don't understand that. He's a likable guy. He's on he's a good player. He's on a decent team. To not even be top 10 in guards for voting, I don't know what that's about, and I don't know if it's a fan thing in Phoenix. If there are any Devin Booker fans, I don't know. I don't know how you fix that because he should be at least top 10. I'm not saying he's an all-star this year. I'm not saying whatever, but to not be top 10 in all-star voting for a guy that's a fringe superstar, that's an issue. And I don't know how that is. I don't know why that's like that, but there has to be some type of solution to that for sure. Do I have anything else on the NBA? Oh wow, Ja Morant, man. What a tough last 365 it's been for him. The suspension. He comes back, is playing phenomenal. His team's getting wins, and then he's out for the season. That's a tough break for Memphis, for Ja Morant. There's no expectations there, of course, obviously, after that. That's just tough though, and I wish him a speedy recovery and a healthy season next year. Um, I'm not sure what they can possibly do with that, but it is what it is, right? Um, I think that's it for the NBA. Moving on, the national championship, man, the college football national championship. That was disgusting to see. I'm an Ohio State fan, and that was hard to watch because it's like never in my lifetime would I think Michigan would win a national championship. After seeing Ohio State dominate them for 8 years and then winning a natty and going to the playoffs. I was never a JJ McCarthy believer. I was never a Harbaugh believer. Harbaugh's a phenomenal coach, but I never thought he could get it done. And that's probably a little bias in me, being that I'm an Ohio State fan. Of course, why would I think Harbaugh can get it done? I don't want Harbaugh to get it done also. But their defense was just phenomenal this year. I think JJ McCarthy did enough. I don't think he's some spectacular guy or anything like that. I think he did enough to win those games. I mean, these guys had Blake Corum. He had 27 touchdowns in 15 games. He's almost scoring 2 touchdowns a game, which is just insane to think about. And then their second running back is Donovan Edwards. He's also a great running back, right? So it's just yeah, I was never really sold on those guys, but obviously I was wrong. They were ready for it. Michael Penix, he just didn't look like himself. Missed a lot of easy throws. I expected a lot more out of him. Yeah, he just missed a lot of easy throws. Thought he was, all year he showed a little more poise, a little more resilience, a little more accuracy. He was just off. He was nervous. He looked like he was rushing. Yeah, it wasn't a good look for him. I mean, I thought he was a good quarterback the whole, one of the better quarterbacks the whole season. I don't think, I don't know, a lot of people saying it's hurt his draft stock, but what's his stock? Where did y'all have him? Right? He's been injured a lot. He's a little bit older. Like where did y'all have him? I don't know if he was a first round lock, right? Um, he's still taking a chance on that guy. I don't think there are. I think Caleb Williams. Honestly, I think Caleb Williams is the only lock in this draft. Drake May is not selling me. Jaden Daniels is not selling me. I think those are very, very good guys, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm 100% sure they're gonna be those guys in the league, right? I think Caleb Williams is the only lock, but as far as Penix goes, I don't know where his stock was to for it to drop. What, maybe second round? What do you think, he's now a fourth rounder? I don't know. JJ McCarthy, I don't know. I think he's a fifth rounder at best, sixth rounder. I don't think he'll succeed in the NFL. To be honest with you, he's a decent thrower of the football. He's a decent runner, but he doesn't have anything that stands out, right? I don't think there's anything he just does phenomenally, um, and that's my opinion on him. Blake Corum, I think he's a great running back. Oh my God, he's so tiny though. And not to say you have to be a big 6'3" running back or whatever, but when you're that small, you have to be exceptional. I think he's a good football player, good running back. I don't know how well he'll pan out in the league. I think he'll be an okay running back in the league, but I don't think he's next up or anything like that, like franchise running backs. I don't even think franchise running backs exist anymore, to be honest with you. So, with that position being what it is now, you know, what can you say, honestly? It's not much to it. But yeah, I think, and a good question was, what does Harbaugh do next? He wins the national championship. I think there's still cheating scandal being investigated or something like that. Is it time to go back to the NFL? Do you stick it out another year at Michigan? So I'm curious to see what his next move is. What do I think? I think there's a good chance of him leaving Michigan. I really do. I really do. But I know he's probably maybe this is recency bias, but he's probably the best coach to come through Michigan. So it's no telling what they'll offer him. I don't know the contract numbers or if he's even up for extension, whatever it is. But it'll be interesting to see that. Excuse me. Okay, moving on to the NFL. Week 18 results. Wow. We got the playoff teams in, and surprise, surprise, Steelers have made the playoffs. That's probably one of the most shocking storylines of the season, right? Because I'm a Steelers fan, had no faith in them making the playoffs. I don't know how they did it. Beat the Ravens twice to do it. So, yeah, Steelers are in the playoffs. And thanks for the help from the Jacksonville Jaguars, who, wow, what a disappointment. These guys, I think, coming in were heavy favorites to win the division. And just to, see them lose it in the last week of the season to another, who did they play? To another division opponent being the Tennessee Titans, who are not a very good football team this year. I think that was the shocking. Like, all they had to do was win. I appreciate them losing, but I think this is a disappointment. This is a disappointing season for the Jaguars. Just count this as whatever, a loss or whatever, because at the minimum they should have been in the playoffs. These guys were supposed to be serious contenders. Trevor Lawrence is, Doug Peters. They were supposed to take their team to the next level, be one of the better teams in the AFC. Now they're missing the playoffs. The AFC North, wow, what a division. We have 4 teams all over 500. Yeah, 3 teams in the playoffs. I don't know if anybody saw the AFC North being this good coming into the season. Before the season, I said it was the best division in football. I did not have 3 teams making the playoffs from the AFC North. I think the Ravens have been phenomenal. Obviously, Lamar Jackson, the best quarterback in football right now. Okay, maybe a hot take. Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. Right now, there isn't a quarterback playing better football than Lamar Jackson right now. As the Ravens' number one, he's won the big games. He's done what he needed to do, pretty much. And then the Cleveland Browns. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Their defense has been phenomenal this year. Kevin Stefanski has done a terrific job getting that team to the playoffs. They've gone through, I think, 4 quarterbacks. Their franchise quarterback, their $200 million man, out for the rest of the season. PJ Walker comes in. I don't remember the other guy. I know they had Jeff Driscoll last game, but then, and great job by the front office. Not only Stefanski, but the front office of the Cleveland Browns finding Joe Flacco, bringing him off the couch and getting him and the team to buy in to whatever they're doing and lead that team to the playoffs. And they look like a serious football team with Joe Flacco back there. And I'm going to bring him up in another point. But moving on, Texans and Colts. CJ Stroud, wow. He's impressive as a rookie. He's a top 10. I'm not going to say top 5, but, he's there. He's a top 10 quarterback already in the league right now. We're going to talk more about quarterback rankings later. But CJ Stroud, phenomenal against the Colts. Big moment. He had to get it done, get his team to the playoffs. He does it. So shouts out to him. I think, let me save that for later again. But I think the Texans really shocked everybody. These guys had the number 2 pick last year, right? And then the following year, rookie head coach, rookie starting quarterback, rookie receiver, free agent tight end, all these moving parts of guys that have not been together at all before the season. And to do that and lead these guys to the playoffs, DeMeco Ryans, round of applause. CJ Stroud, round of applause. There's not much you can say, but it's pretty impressive what they're doing. And for the Colts as well, they lost Anthony Richardson. Gardner Minshew, was the guy moving forward. And, he played decent. Who knows what would happen with Anthony Richardson, but I think it's going to be exciting to see what comes for that division. CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, obviously Trevor Lawrence, and then the Tennessee Titans as well. Buccaneers, Panthers. Buccaneers got themselves a playoff spot. It was ugly, 9-0 to the Panthers. My goodness, they won, right? So there's always joy in winning, but my goodness, it couldn't have looked worse. They have a huge matchup coming up, but that's huge for Baker Mayfield. What a comeback, right? To kind of be written off. I guess he didn't write back, right? But to be written off and then bounce around from team to team, and then be named starting quarterback for the after Tom Brady, and then to lead that team to the playoffs. Granted, it was the worst division of football, but you made the playoffs, so there's not much to say. There's no excuses on why you made the playoffs. You made the playoffs. That's the end of the story, right? Lions, Vikings. It was good to see Justin Jefferson back. Would have loved to have him healthy for the whole year. That would have been awesome, especially for fantasy football when you take him with the number 1 pick. But it'll be interesting to see what they do moving forward with Kirk Cousins. If they let him go, if they, he said he would take a hometown discount or something like that. And I like him in Minnesota. I feel like he belongs there. And with the quarterbacks in today's landscape, they're hard to come by. The good ones are hard to come by. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, whether you like him or not, game manager, whatever. This guy's a good quarterback. He gets the ball where it needs to go. Addison and Jefferson on the outside, you got to have somebody, a good thrower of the football to be getting them the ball. So if I was the Vikings, I'd probably keep him around. Jets beat the Patriots to finish. Excuse me. Jets beat the Patriots to finish off their season. I think my issue with the Jets was maybe I spoke about it in the last episode. I can't remember. But after Aaron Rodgers got hurt, you knew Zach Wilson wasn't the guy. You've seen this before. And then even after a couple weeks, you saw he was not the guy. Yeah, and so for them not to make any moves at the trade deadline, not to sign any quarterback, we keep Zach Wilson, and I guess who was the backup? Trevor Siemian? That's on the Jets front office. The Jets still had you know what? You want to know something crazy? The Jets still had a chance after Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Yes, that's a huge injury. But the Jets were the number one defense in football. All you had to do was go get a quarterback that was competent. I'm not saying go get one of the best 10 quarterbacks in football. I'm not saying go get, whoever, Brock Purdy, or go get Russell Wilson. They could have picked up Joe Flacco. Do you think if the Jets had Joe Flacco, do you think how many more wins do they have? Do they make the playoffs? Are they in the wild card? Not saying they win the division, but they lost a lot of winnable games strictly off of quarterback play. But for them to kind of throw the season down the drain, because that's what it looked like. Aaron Rodgers get hurt first series, whatever. Couple games, you see Zach Wilson's not the guy. Why didn't you make a trade? Why didn't you go sign somebody in free agency? There's a lot of decent backup quarterbacks in this league that are better than Zach Wilson, in my opinion. But to sit there and let him, underperform, keep blaming him, and kind of just let the season fall by the wayside, it was a wasted season for them. Like I said, they had the number one defense. You can do something with that. So I'm a little bit disappointed, regardless of Aaron Rodgers getting hurt. Yes. Deshaun Watson got hurt, right? Browns are still in the playoffs. I digress, though. Nick Chubb, they're still in the playoffs. I digress, though. Wow. Saints Falcons would have waited for Arthur Smith to end his tenure as a coach. I think it was long overdue. It was obviously time for him to go. He wasn't good. He just wasn't good. We all see how talented Bijan Robinson is, and he doesn't get the ball to Bijan enough. Sticking with Desmond Ridder, but like the play calling, I don't know. I don't watch a lot of Falcons games, so it's hard for me to speak on them. But you drafted a tight end in the top 5. He already has 1,000-yard season. Why is he not getting the ball? Why can't y'all scheme him open? Why don't y'all have plays drawn up? I don't know. Is it the quarterback? Is it the coach? There's no way Kyle Pitts should, not be getting that many touches. How? There's games where Bijan is, gets 10 carries. He should be getting 20 touches a game. Minimum. And maybe even 25. I don't know. Arthur Smith, I was never sold on him. He's an okay play caller. And it was time for him to go. It was time to make a change. That ending result versus the Saints. Jameis Jameis. Let's talk about that actually. Jameis calling in for a touchdown. I don't like unwritten rules in sports, right? Oh, in baseball, don't flip the bat too crazy. Don't go too slow around the bases. In basketball, don't shoot that layup up 20 with 10 seconds left. I don't care for it. Like, what are these why are you mad somebody did a layup? I'm getting off topic. Why are you mad somebody shooting a layup, right, with 20 seconds to go, up by 20? It's not their fault that you let them get a 20-point lead, right? So, like I said, I hate unwritten rules. There's guys that get in it at the end of those games that don't get a chance to play. Yo, get a bucket. Saints game, get a touchdown. Why are you mad? So, like, stop them. Stop them from, like, why did you let them get 40 points before that? You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's on your team. That's not on the Saints to stop scoring because y'all can't defend them. That's on y'all. So, I don't know. Arthur Smith acted like a little punk after that. Like I said, I hate unwritten rules. Stop somebody. Keep play till the clock says 0. Simple. And then the backlash Jameis is getting for doing that, by Shannon Sharp. Oh, I would cut him. You would cut him for doing that? It's not that deep, brother. That touchdown changes nothing. You know what I'm saying? Nothing happens from that touchdown. The Saints aren't even in the playoffs. So that touchdown means nothing. No one cares. It's not that deep. The season's over. Why are we trying to cut people because they got an extra touchdown? I don't know. I didn't like how Shannon Sharp did that. I didn't like the backlash Jameis got for that. Because it's like, if you're in the game, score. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, these guys are NFL players at the end of the day. They get paid to play. It's not bad sportsmanship because you're running up the score. These guys are professionals. They know how to play deep. Like, they should be able to stop somebody. They should be playing hard. They get paid to do this. That's their job. Let me move on, man. Seahawks and Cardinals. I think the Seahawks are in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, the Seahawks missed the playoffs. Okay. I didn't watch that game at all, but obviously Pete Carroll's out as head coach, but he will remain on as an advisor. That's kind of interesting. But I mean, Pete Carroll's getting up there. I think after the Russell Wilson whole ordeal, I think it was kind of a countdown from that point on. Yeah, I wonder who they'll get next as head coach. That should be interesting. Bears, Packers sneak into the playoffs. Bears, another disappointing game. But what a great storyline it makes for, right? The number 1 pick, Caleb Williams. Everybody, I did say Caleb. I think Caleb Williams will be good, but we gotta stop assuming he's just the next coming of Patrick Mahomes. He's talented. He's a talented guy for sure, but my goodness, everybody's trying to find the next Patrick Mahomes. He's just Caleb Williams. He's a good quarterback. And yes, he did some amazing things at USC, right? But when you watch some of those plays, like, man, the NFL is a lot different than, Pac-12 pass rushers. Seriously, man. Like, you think he could just run around and do all that? And I'm not saying he can't. He could probably make some of those plays. But as often as he does it, as often as he holds on to the ball, I can't say with confidence that, his playing style will work every time he tries it. You know what I mean? That's just how I feel about it. But I don't know. I think the Bears should probably keep Justin Fields. Move back and try to draft Marvin Harrison. Because who's their number two? Like Scott, Darrell Mooney. Like, you got to give Justin Fields some guys to throw to, and those aren't bad guys. But I think Marvin Harrison, I think he's even more of a lot than Caleb Williams is. I don't know, he just has it, man. There's not really many holes in his game as a wide receiver. Um, so yeah, if I was the Bears, that's what I would do. Justin Fields, he can throw the football. Like he doesn't have a problem. But I don't know. Some people think super highly of Caleb Williams and believes he's just gonna change everything in that organization. It's good to know that the Bears are keeping the same coach at least, so it's not a whole new thing. Chiefs Chargers, I did not watch. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch that 13-12. Who's the Chargers head coach? I have no idea. After got fired. So it's interesting to see who they'll bring in as well. Hopefully Herbert can get healthy. Man, they had a ton of injuries this year. Herbert, Mike Williams. I don't know if Keenan finished the season. Man, how disappointing was Austin Eckler this year, especially for fantasy football. So I don't know if that was a contract year for him either. But yeah, I think, they were just riddled with injuries this year. So it looks kind of crazy, especially with Herbert and Mike Williams. And then they got their coach fired. So that organization is pretty much starting from ground zero. Broncos, Raiders, man. The Raiders have been impressive since Antonio Pierce took over. There shouldn't be a head coaching vacancy open for much longer in Las Vegas. It should be Antonio Pierce. And I don't understand what they're waiting on to take the interim tag off of him. Because, what more do you need to see? He's coached his butt off the last couple of games. Got Raiders, winning games. And then the Broncos, on the other hand, man, what a disgusting organization, man. The way they trying to do Russell Wilson, I can't respect it. It's a little surprising coming from John Elway. Sean Payton, man, he's a piece of crap, is what it sounds like. I'm not even a big Russell Wilson guy, but the way that they have, I don't know, acknowledged him, or the way they've treated him and trying to make him give back money, and then sitting him down or whatever. It's just a very nasty way to run an organization, and I'm curious if other players around the league see things like that and like, I don't want to sign there. I mean, of course, money's always important in these situations, but when you see organizations ran how they ran, and sometimes they aren't very respectful to players, I wonder if that takes a factor into free agent signing one place over the other. Eagles Giants, my goodness. This looks like the beginning of the end for the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of people are calling for Sirianni. People are calling for Ben Johnson. Because to start, I don't know, what was it, 10-1 or 11-1, and then lose 4 of your last 5, 2 being to the Cardinals and the Giants. Man, had the 1 seed locked up, and then completely just, I don't know, they just lost it, man. It just feels like they just went all the way off the deep end. Yeah, so I don't know. They don't look good right now. They look terrible right now. And there's a lot of frustration going on. And Philly is not a very nice, a very nice city. So if you're not getting it together, the fans are not going to be happy about that. And wow, the Giants, did some good things this year. They just have this big gray cloud over their head. Can anybody guess what it's for? Oh, it's the $40 million they're paying Daniel Jones. And I'm not saying he's horrible, but I don't think he's different enough to make $40 million over Tyrod Taylor, right? Like, how much better is Daniel Jones than Tyrod Taylor? He had a decent season last year, but you're paying him $40 million, and I don't think you had to pay him $40 million. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think anybody else would have paid him $40 million. I don't know if anybody else would have paid him $30 million. He's a decent guy, but come on. Seriously, come on. Like, that was just a bad move by the front office, I think. Hopefully they can get some guys back in there. Bring Saquon back if you can. You just don't come by those running backs all the time. I don't know what the frustration for the hesitation for re-signing him is. He's great at what he does. He's a very good running back. But I mean, if you want to spend your money elsewhere, you go ahead and do that. Rams, 49ers. Rams have caught a nice hot streak going into the playoffs. Got a lot of momentum going in. Kyron's healthy. I think Kupp is healthy. Puka's healthy. Stafford's healthy. Aaron Donald's healthy. They've caught a great rhythm. They got a good momentum going. And, watch out for them in the playoffs. Don't be surprised. Don't let us snide at upset. Don't be surprised. Cowboys has also caught a nice rhythm going into the playoffs. Not sold on them. We'll get more into that in a little bit. Bills, Dolphins. Dolphins lose another big game, lose the division, make the playoffs. Now you're on the road against the Chiefs. You could have been at home versus the Steelers. So that was a huge game. And I don't know. The Dolphins just refuse to win big games. I don't know what that's about. But come playoffs, they've got to step it up. They seriously got to step it up. Washington, Ron Rivera, out of there. Any surprises there? Not really. How many seasons are we gonna give him to be ass? It's time to go, Ron. And it's an interesting situation they have going on. They got a good pick. Just hired Bob Myers. I don't know what that'll do, but their division is kind of decent, so it'll be hard for them to make something shake next year. But I think they're headed in the right direction with getting Ron Rivera out of there. Who else got fired? Such a sad thing to say. Chiefs, Packers, Bears, Seahawks. Mike Vrabel. Wow. Yeah, what a shocker. Seriously. I don't know. I don't know if he should have went. I don't know if he should have been canned. I mean, Tannehill was never really that guy. Malik Willis wasn't that guy. Will Levis, he was pretty decent towards the end. But you got rid of AJ Brown, and from what I think I know, it wasn't Mike Vrabel's decision. Y'all made some bad moves as a front office. You not only got rid of AJ Brown, you turn around and get rid of Kevin Byard. What do you want Mike Vrabel to do with probably two of the three best players in the last couple years that played on the Titans? You traded two of them away. And now what? You're going to get rid of Derrick Henry as well. How much can you blame Mike Vrabel for that? He had an AFC Championship appearance. He went to the playoffs, I think, 3 times. But then you gave him to work with Malik Willis and Will Levis. Those guys aren't going to get it done. And you traded away. Come on, man. That's not all Mike Vrabel. I think they need to take a look at that front office. How do you trade A.J. Brown? How do you do that? I don't know. I just don't know how you do that. Mr. Bill Belichick. What is happening there? I don't know. Do we think his time is up with the Patriots? It should be. I think he's done enough, right? But also think there's that conversation circling. You know, Belichick is nothing without Tom, and that looks like the case. I can't lie. But I wonder if Belichick is out to prove that or is out to, I don't know, change the narrative on that conversation. But right now, it does look like, oh, Belichick isn't much without Tom. That's what it looks like. I can't disagree with that. Since Tom left, what have the Patriots done? Not a thing. Not a freaking thing. Let's talk about these wild card matchups. Browns versus the Texans. I want to say the Browns, but CJ. I don't want to doubt CJ Stroud. I think he's that good. But the Browns defense, my goodness, what a defense they do have. Joe Flacco's playing out of his mind as well. That's why, and Joe Flacco has that experience to go along with it. So I think that's why I have to go with the Browns. Um, Joe Flacco has been there. He's been on the big stage. The defense has been pretty consistent all year. Um, I think I'm gonna go with the Browns on that one. Dolphins, Chiefs. Chiefs are not the Chiefs that we're typically used to. The Dolphins still have not really won a big game. Maybe they have, and I missed that. I don't know. I think Tyreek's return to Kansas City. It's opposite of what by my logic of what should happen. The Chiefs should beat them because the Dolphins can't win big games. But for some reason, I don't know why. I can't tell you why. I think Tyreek has a crazy return. He just goes crazy, and I don't know. The Chiefs just don't look like the Chiefs right now. I think, but yeah, I think Tyreek has a big game, and somehow the Dolphins beat the Chiefs. Steelers, Bills. I'm a Steelers fan. This may be a little bit of bias, but listen, hear me out first. Steelers have been playing well. They've been in rhythm, but that TJ Watt injury is huge. It is huge. But Mason Rudolph he's been better than Pickett and Trubisky. He's been good. He's been a good game manager, keeping the turnovers down. Getting Pickett involved in Johnson. I wish we could get them both involved at the same time. But I can't make too many complaints. But the Steelers are in a nice rhythm right now. Defense is playing well. Najee has been impressive over the last couple games. So I think their momentum is good. And then Josh Allen. I just am not a believer in Josh Allen. Turnover machine. I think he's still good, but he's a dual threat for sure. I'm just not a believer at all. I mean, he has struggled getting Stephon Diggs the ball. Uses his legs a lot. I think if the Steelers can contain him from running the ball, they have a real chance at beating him. And that's why I'm going with the Steelers over the Bills. Packers, Cowboys. I like the Cowboys. Cowboys have just CeeDee Lamb. He's just been completely unstoppable the last handful of games. And Jordan Love just has tendencies to have stinkers, man, and they happen. He's been decent this year, but Michael Parsons, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Jordan Love. So I think the Cowboys, the way they're playing right now, I like them over the Packers. Rams Lions, that's probably going to be the game of the week, right? Because I think they have fairly similar teams. They have pretty good quarterback play, pretty good running game, and they're pretty good in receiver. Laporta injury was huge. But I think these are both very sneaky teams. Like, I can see both of these teams going to the NFC Championship. I can see both of them going to the NFC Championship. Literally. The stories around this game are huge. Stafford's return to Detroit for the first time, and Goff playing against the guy he was traded for. I think that's game of the week. It's going to be a close one. I really like the way the Lions run the ball. I think they have a really complete offense. Goff is throwing it well. Just that Laporta injury, man, it's huge. He's throwing it well though. They're running the ball well. I'm going with the Lions over the Rams. And my upset of the week, the Buccaneers over the Eagles. The Eagles, like I said, it's the beginning of the end. They don't look good. They haven't looked good in 6 weeks. The Buccaneers don't look good either, but I'm not gonna say they don't look good, but last week they did not look good against the Panthers. But saying that, I think they can sneak the Eagles. I think the Eagles need to do a little cleaning up after this season anyway. That's what people think. I'm not gonna say I think that, but that's what other people think. I don't know. But like I said, the Eagles haven't looked good in 6 weeks. Every game they've been fighting, and these haven't been necessarily like super great teams that they're getting smacked by. Granted, the Dallas Cowboys, but we got a loss to the Cardinals, a loss to the Giants, a loss to the Seahawks, who did not make the playoffs, and then a loss to the Cowboys. Also, a blowout to the 49ers. Come on now. Like, they just don't look good right now. Listen, it's not a lot of logic to it, but give me the Bucks over the Eagles. Yeah. And then today I was talking to my friend Murph. We were having a conversation about the top 10 quarterbacks. Yada, yada, yada. Is Brock Purdy top 10? Yes, he is. Yes, he's a game manager. But at the end of the day, Brock Purdy still has to make those throws. Brock Purdy still has to, read defenses. Yes, he's playing with CMC. Yes, he's playing with Trent, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle. But he still has to make these throws. He has to make these audibles. He has to read these defenses. He has to extend these plays himself. He still has to do what quarterbacks do. I think he's top 10. He's 5th in passing yards this year, 3rd in touchdowns, 31-11 touchdown and interception. He's 20-5 as a starter. A trip to the NFC Championship last year, number 1 seed this year. What more do we need to see? We don't need to see this much from anybody else. I told you CJ Stroud was top maybe 5. He hasn't played a playoff game yet. Brock Purdy is unquestionably top 10. And guess what? I believe he's better than Jalen Hurts. What does Jalen Hurts really do better than Brock Purdy? He runs the ball better, yes. Jalen Hurts is throwing to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and he had 23 touchdowns this year. 23 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. That's not very good. That's not very good. I think Hurts is good, but I think we overrated him last year. He's a good quarterback. I think Purdy's better. They're both in decent situations. Pretty good situations, I should say. One's outperforming the other. I think CJ Stroud's better than both. Murph said Herbert was better than both. I agree. I would like to see Herbert win a big game. I really can't get that 27-point comeback that they lost out of my head for Herbert. Yes, he played good in the first. He failed to score in the second half though. Who else was up there? I think Stafford, Dak. Obviously Lamar, Mahomes, Burrow. I don't know, but the thing was, Brock Purdy's a top 10 quarterback. However you want to measure it. Game manager, game changer. Quarterback got to make those throws. Can Zach Wilson go in that offense and do what Brock Purdy did? No. I don't think he can. Sorry. I don't think a lot of quarterbacks can. Of course, the ones that are great ahead of him, yes, they can. And I'm not saying he's a game changer. Maybe he is a game manager, but he's elite at it. He's an elite game manager. um, that's my take on it. Hope y'all enjoyed that second episode. And we'll be back after this coming week with the wild card round. We'll go over those results, see what we think moving forward, and then comment below any other topics you want to hear me talk about, or share your opinion on anything you think, or share your opinion on anything I had to say. Would love to hear from you guys. See you next time.